is here with Just Another Season Productions, and we have here
Matthew Long Jr. from EXP Realty.
There we go. And the purpose for this call is really to unite community and unite especially professionals to educate our community in the real estate environment. I think that it is very, very, very important that our audiences, our clients, our families even, right, understand that being a real estate agent or that profession as a whole has a lot of stigmas that comes with it, right? And we want to go ahead and just break that mentality. And we want to get into the questions that are really hard to ask sometimes, or people are scared to ask professionals. And I think that this is a learning process for everybody. And I think the best tool that we have is to have the knowledge and to be able to educate, so we can able to fulfill our duty in the most, I think, efficient way, right? And I think that the process will be so much better for both the client and the professional. So let's get into it, Matthew.
Okay.
I'll ask you some challenging questions here, okay? I want you to be as brutally honest as you possibly can. No filters. I want this to
No
be
filter.
space. Let's just get right to it.
All right.
So I call this session of our Zoom the undercover reality. All right.
Okay.
All right. So question number one, and I've got this from several leads and several people who I've been representing as well. The question was, there's a concept, right? The real estate is easy, right? Real estate is easy. And the majority of real estate agents, or entire realtors, live in a comfortable and big house. What would you say to that stigma that agents currently have in this moment?
What would I say?
Home, Matthew?
What would I say to that? Find me the realtor and let's go have a party over there. Let's go crash. Who is that realtor? I want to know. Let me meet him so I can learn, do better. But the majority of realtors do not live in such lavish luxury as what may be portrayed on TV. And I think I can say this freely. Myself and other realtors, we get together and we enjoy watching the realtor glitz and glam lifestyle that is sometimes portrayed on HGTV and other home shows, magazines as well.
But they're fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. I have my favorites. You got yours?
I sure do, but I don't know if I can say them out loud. But
I don't know about that either.
There you have your favorites too, but so you're saying that that's not the norm? I mean, it's not norm for like.
It is not. It is not. It's not. It's not. The smart realtor doesn't live like that. Yeah.
I can see that. So you say that majority of real estate agents are like conservative?
The majority of real estate agents are very conservative. Most times they learn how to manage their portfolio, their real estate portfolio, even the wealth that they gain, so that they can have longevity beyond being a realtor. One reason, I don't know if I can put this plug in there, but one reason I work for EXP Realty is because they're concerned about the longevity of the agent. They want to make sure that you're not trying to sell houses and you're 85 years old, 97, where you should be enjoying life. And so oftentimes they teach us, how to actually do what we do in such a way that we're able to enjoy it for long periods of time, rather than trying to make another sale.
Mm-hmm. And I think you hit a great point, because we're talking about, I don't know if I would say frugal, but we're talking about an investment, right? And I think there's a misconception even then, what does that mean? Explain a little bit of what, let's get into like the core of the real estate and the importance it has really in our market, and how beneficial it is to our community to be a part of that type of investment for them, for their families.
investments. When you say investment, sometimes we think stocks and bonds,
Mhm.
but we forget that land is an investment as well. That's what real estate is. The real estate that you're gonna get is the land, and all these other things you put on the land add value or take away value from it. But at the end of the day, everybody's fighting for the land, and so as a realtor, as well as a real estate agent for the company I work for, it is my responsibility to educate the client on how to expand the life of that investment, so
Mhm.
that that can be an investment that's passed down from generation to generation, that has a monetary assignment to it, a value assigned to it, that you can say, hey, we made an initial investment of $60,000, but came out with $120,000 profit. But now, by passing it on, it's now worth 380,000. Now it's worth 560,000. Now 770,000. Now 980,000. And hey, we've got $1 million investment. It may have had to go through a whole generation, but we've got something that we can pass down that actually we can get something out of. Everybody knows about home equity loans, getting got the equity from the house, but that land is an investment, and you can pull out the equity from it by learning how to distribute the wealth, by holding on to it for a little bit, or knowing when to sell. Sometimes you do need to sell, but you don't need to get something in
Yeah.
flash, such as a car. Cars lose their value so fast. I think they say Mercedes Benz, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's lost $10,000 in value. That's crazy.
Mhm.
Spend $10,000 and get you an acre of land that soon may be prime real estate. Who knows? 25 years from now, what could be happening? And I don't know if you want to go here, but I'm going to go here.
Bring it
I
on.
I spend time talking with some community leaders, and we talk about how the development of the upstate of South Carolina has transpired. And I shared with them, it's a lack of knowledge that causes us to perish. I mean, we don't realize that if we're not in the city council meetings, if we're not in the county council meetings, our local municipality meetings, finding out what's part of the master plan or the master key, what is the map for the city, 20 years down the road, 50 years down the road, we'll always feel lost. And so when you do know, then you know how to properly invest, how to properly buy a house or not buy a house, buy land, um, buy, what comes with it, the appurtenances, the river, the lake, the pond, so that you can get an investment that is worth your initial amount of money.
Hmm. But not only that, you hit it on the nail. I think the majority of us go into property because you want to leave a legacy for your kids. You want to leave, or
Hmm.
you want to leave something of yours to, pass down.
Hmm.
That sometimes we're so, and it goes back to, again, transparency. It goes back to how we grew up. It goes back to the perspective, and it goes back to the stigma, because it's even to the point, oh, you own land, you own this. It's like, oh, they're conceited. Oh, they think they're all that. Oh, they think, right? There's this whole big, and and the reality is
Uh-huh.
contrary, right? The reality is contrary, and I think that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Maybe
very,
so.
it comes from an ignorant mindset, but it still, like you said, knowledge is power. And the more we
Hmm.
understand how important real estate is in all aspects of our lives,
Hmm.
like, talking a little bit of what, you previously mentioned, if we buy, let's say, land right now, right? And this is happening actually, by my neighborhood. They bought land, this old house. He probably lived there for like 30 years. But
Hmm.
back, the development of Greenville is definitely growing. So they had, I think it was like 5 times they like renegotiated just for this house, to remove the house.
Yeah, just to get rid of it.
They paid a huge chunk of money.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes.
when I heard the amount, I was like, Lord. Like, it was over like
Yes.
100 grand or something like that. But I was like,
Yes.
that house wasn't, well, I didn't think the house was worth that. It didn't look like it was. But when you tell me that was the buyout, it's insane. It's insane.
Hmm.
But again, it goes back to that mentality. You have to be able to
Yeah.
appreciate, what that really means. So, kudos for that. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that.
No, no problem.
Ha ha. This one is, how important is dealing with people in this industry? I know that it can be challenging sometimes, but is it important for you to be transparent with a client, or are you hesitant at times to tell the client where, they probably need to tone it down, I guess, per se?
Honestly, let me deal with the end of the question, and I'm going to try to work right to the beginning of the
Let's do
question.
it.
Uh, it is my responsibility as the realtor to be the truth teller to my client. And if that's hurting some feelings, it's best that I hurt the feelings early on or at whatever point it is that it's needed. Um, because you don't want to walk into buying a house, selling a house with these false perceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be so easy to have these grandiose ideas because we love watching, HGTV. And,
Exactly.
I don't mention those flipping shows, but, flip and flop and all that good stuff. And we think we're an expert by the time we watch 2 seasons. And the truth of the matter is, that's not what's happening in your local neighborhood. That what the brother man said, your local neighborhood. But you need a realtor that's able to tell you what the climate of the market is, so that you can have the best position to negotiate, and the best position to actually get what you want in the time frame you want. I've seen houses sit for years, seen houses sit for hours. It's all based upon the realtor's interaction with that client to help them see what position they really should approach the real estate need, whether it's buying or selling. So for that reason,
Mm-hmm.
that's why there must be transparency from the realtor. And I'm open to doing it because sometimes people think I will get $100,000 off this house. And the truth of the matter is, you put little to none effort into the maintenance, upkeep, and the overall condition of your house. And
but it's perception. Again, that is the mentality. The mentality is that you're getting pretty wealthy out of these transactions.
telling you. And
It's, again, you have to be able to see. I think that's just in life in general. Sometimes we're just so quick to judge based on our lenses that we don't take time to take them off and view them on, from another's perspective. And that goes into. Go ahead.
and I'm going to say this, oftentimes when I'm dealing with clients, often say to them, stand on the other side of this. If you're the buyer, look at this from a seller's perspective. Is this fair? Is this actually something that's meaningful? And then I say from the seller side, look on the buyer side. Is this something that's worth investing? Is this going to be actually something worth taking out a loan on or paying cash for? Really look at it from the other side, and it'll easily help the client realize, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm a little extra right now. I can come back down, and it works. It works.
Again, you don't know what you don't know if we don't give you opportunity to be able to explore that, right? And that's very crucial. So it goes back, I guess this piggybacks to that question. Do you think trust amongst the client and the realtor, is that an important factor? And do you think that they're able to grasp the idea to, kind of follow your lead, if there is that trust factor?
So that fiduciary responsibility, one of those words we like to use, it's key, it's vital. It's like the TLC in a committed relationship. We're gonna have all kinds of good love and all kinds of good communication, but if you don't trust me, at some point it's gonna break down and we'll have some barriers. And so you've got to trust me as a realtor to present something to you that's not gonna put you at a disadvantage or to be taken advantage of, abused. At the same token, as the client, you've got to tell me the truth. If you went crazy for your birthday and started spending everything up on your credit card, you got to tell me the truth. You can't let me get 3 months into it and then say, oops. it just happened. You know, there has to be trust there, and that trust has to be formulated from the very first meeting. Um, I think you have to present yourself in a trustworthy manner as the realtor. But then as the client, you got to present yourself in such a manner that you're able to be trusted as well. I've run into people who say, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house. But then, okay, I'm going to give you a couple things I need you to do. And if you don't complete the task, you're not trustworthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, and that's true. I think you want to do things that's in the best interest of the other person. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that not being honest and open can actually not only ruin, well, I personally think it can ruin families if you get into something and then last minute, oh my God, like it can't be done, right? And that's how it
Yeah.
happens when you're like so close of closing homes and you're like, for crying out loud, like there's just one thing that didn't go right that could have been re-verified, if not, or more honest ahead of the process, or way before into the process. And then you don't have a home, you lost
Yep.
funds, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's huge. That's really big. So I think that without that fiduciary relationship, there's actually a danger factor that kind of plays a role in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I do
So
believe
true.
in the long term of that. Continuing that same thought, I do believe that long term relationships with clients are very crucial and they're very important. But I know that from a standpoint of a lot of leads that I've had or worked with for real estate agents, when we've had conversations, it's like, okay, first I'm thinking that you're making money off my transaction, right? Two, I'm thinking you're this wealthy guy. Who cares if you sell me a house? But now three, after you sell me the home, you don't even talk to me anymore. Like, where does that relation end up, right? So what's kind of your take on that? Like, you know, and I know that every real estate agent is different and I get the process, but I don't see that to be a very healthy way of dealing with clients. But again, I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm just looking at it from the outside in as one who represents, helps them and represents.
Well, as a realtor, I believe that I'm to be your realtor for life. You have a doctor that you go to for your checkups, semi or annual. You have a mechanic that works on your car. You have a dentist that makes sure your teeth are nice and pearly white or in the straight and all that good stuff. You even have an optometrist. You have somebody who looks at your eyes and makes sure your eyes are healthy. But you need somebody who's going to make sure that you are taken care of when it comes to your housing efforts. You need a realtor. You need somebody who's going to be there with you to help share exactly what you need when it comes to renting or owning, and actually going through those various moments. What I need for you to understand, it's my responsibility to be with you before we get a house, while we're searching for the house, after we close on the house, and once you get in the house. Because as you grow with your family, I'm there to be there with you. All right? I'm there. I'm there. I'm your realtor for life. So hey, it's birthday time. It's anniversary time. I'm here because as your family grows, I want to be the guy that says, okay, let's look at your situation again. What's your debt to income? But how are you managing your finances? Maybe we need to get a bigger house. Maybe we don't need a bigger house. Maybe we can do some of the house you got now. I'm gonna help you, maybe get an equity line. Maybe you need to do some renovations to this house. Maybe you need to sell it. That's what me as the realtor is here for. I had a client buy a house, and the question was, so how do I work my dishwasher?
Hey, it's valid.
Application
It's valid.
technician, and as well as the realtor. So I'm here for the entire process, and then after. I think that's how you build good relationships. That trust factor that we talked about a while ago. Because when you have somebody that that's there and that's there beyond getting a common $1,000, $2,000 check or more, $500 check, it doesn't matter the amount. But you got somebody who's there for your house to make sure that, hey, I've got a partner, a guru, a licensed professional. I've got somebody who's trusted. You realize I got somebody I can stay with and I'll always be with them because they
And
matter
I
to
think it's not only that individual that was your client. I think that it goes to their mom, their dad, a family member who is in need. Like it becomes a domino effect, you know, to
me.
maintain
Yeah.
a relationship. And now when someone asks them, even a friend, if somebody were to ask them, hey, I'm looking to buy a house, or I'm looking to sell a home, whatever the case may be, refinance, whatever, they can think of you quickly, right? They
Yeah.
don't go
Yeah.
through what is it, Rolodex,
Rolodex. Yeah.
so they don't go through none of that to try to find a realtor within their parameter. They think of you, and you're the one they go to, right? So I
Oh,
I
that was very archaic of you. A Rolodex.
think
Do
like
you have a Rolodex?
I don't, but I probably should.
Okay, I was just checking. I was checking. We have
So
all kinds of
we all have someone that we always fall back to. Same thing that you said with medical professionals. You know, if someone is looking for something, obviously we're going to refer our own client. And I think that, I mean, our own physician, because I think that that's, again, if I trust the physician that he does a great job, and he's like, there's one that I was, since I came here, and I've been here for about 15 years now. That's the only person I refer. My tax accountant. He's the only person I refer, right? Because there was a good experience that I had with him. So I do think that your integrity is valuable. Who you are and
yes.
who you represent is valuable. And I know we've had conversations before, but we talked about brand awareness and how important it is to have an intact brand, right? And
Yes.
even to the
Yes.
point that it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to have flaws, but the importance of how you represent it. It's not only, what is it, Monday through Friday, it's 24/7,
That's
right?
right.
It's like you can't be someone on the weekends, and during the weekday you go on like life never, like the weekend never happened.
hmm
So
That's right. That's right.
as a marketing agency, advertising marketing agency, and even a production aspect hat that I wear, I'm always on social media platforms. I'm always in all these, digital affairs that I look at some things, and I even have to tell real estate agents that I work together with, take that down of your business page. It is
Yes. Yeah.
strongly recommended because,
Yes.
again, it's reputation. A lot of people have been grateful for it, because we're emotional beings, so we react based on emotion.
Yeah.
But it's just things that we need to be very careful.
It goes back to that saying, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at the end of the day, your name, your brand synonymous. So you got to make sure that it's worth more than the gold on your hand, the
Mm-hmm.
diamonds on your finger, you know, the rubies around your neck, the pearls around your neck. Your name's got to be worth something. And,
It's true.
and especially when we work with people, I mean, we're in the people business.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. I'm in the people business. You've got to make sure that your name is intact. And it's sometimes when you find those people who, have a little situation. For me, it's very shocking, and I take it very personal, because I want my name to be clean and to be exactly what it is. I don't want any false representation out there. And sometimes through perceptions, we
Yeah.
have these false realities built up until we can actually become relational and we get to know each other, build that trust. Then we can realize exactly who that name is, what that brand represents. Because when somebody says, jazz, I'm telling you, it opens up doors everywhere. I don't care where you're at. You can be in North Dakota, California, DC. And they be like, oh, yeah, you good. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. I'll give you a discount. I got you. It's the, yeah. I've used it a couple times.
Back to what when I was thinking of you, and I know we talked about this way before, but when I think about you, I think about someone who is relational. I think about someone who actually loves people. You're into their story. You're really involved, and that is it's like a double-edged sword, right? Because sometimes when your emotion gets so involved, it's very different. but I think that you
Mm-hmm.
always come out to me as a very genuine, relational guy. And that's
Well,
why
thank you.
it's just easy to talk to you about anything and everything, is because you're like nonchalant and you're like, but it's great. I enjoy your personality a lot. And I
Thank
think
you.
you bring that to your table, and I can imagine what your clients have to deal with on a daily basis.
Oh my goodness. My
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Maybe you should become one of my clients. Let's buy a house.
I
Let's
know,
buy a
right?
house.
One day.
How do
How
you get off of this?
how
Uh-huh.
important is a real estate agent in this industry? Um, I do believe that there's a lot of strongholds when it comes to the knowledge that a realtor should have, but a real estate agent, or at least one that I would trust, knows every aspect of the development process when I mean she guides a client.
Mhm.
What do you think about that, or is that just like
No, no, no. You're actually onto something. It has been proven over and over that people who go into real estate transactions without a realtor or a real estate agent are likely to pay more money,
mm,
or to actually let me explain that, pay more money in actual the cost without having some type of negotiation room, or in some type of damage. And so you pay for what you get. And
mm,
sometimes being cheap, not having a realtor selling your house, or not having a realtor representing you in a buying transaction can be such a terrible thing to your pockets, that you don't realize it at the moment. But you go down a couple of years, and you will realize that if had I had a knowledgeable expert in this field who could guide me through the process of an inspection, guide me through the process
mhm.
of getting funding, lending from a funder, such as, should I go credit union? Should I go subprime? Who should I talk to? Who should I not talk to? If I didn't have somebody to guide me through it, you will quickly realize that I'm paying more than what I should pay. I'm draining in my finance. Maybe I shouldn't have made this decision. Should I make this decision? Did I make a good decision? Should I held on to this? Should I give it up? Without that realtor, without that trusted professional there, I'm telling you, I cannot stress that you're going to lose some money. For
Mhm.
that reason, you need a realtor who's going to be there, such as the inspections, who's going to be there to help advise um, the process. Who's going to be engaged. The truth of the matter is, as realtors, we can't tell anybody who to go with, who to choose, who to use.
Mhm.
We provide lists of those who we know who are in the business. And now we may have preferred lists, but we never tell any client that you need to go with XYZ company or ZYT company. It's unethical. It's something we don't do. But we always want to make sure that even if you do go that route, with going with someone that we may not know, someone that we may not trust, that we're there with you. And that's the thing about it. The realtor is always there with you. So the moment something happens, you can always call on the realtor
Mhm.
and say, hey, I need your help. Hey, is this supposed to happen? Hey, what's happening next?
Yeah.
What's the status of? It's the realtor's job to be there with you through the entire transaction. So when you talk about that whole when does it stop? Being a realtor never stops
Yeah.
at all. But as long as you choose a realtor, you'll get that benefit. But without choosing a realtor, you get whatever you get. And that's a huge high risk gamble that a lot of people take unknowingly. So many people try to sell their houses by themselves. And, these for sale by owners. Great thing. Good for you. You got initiative. You got courage to do something like that. But the truth of the matter is, despite your bravery, you need a professional. You need a professional. You're limiting your access. You're not able to get into the MLS. You're not able to reach a larger stream of people.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
only limited by those who drive by your house, or
Mhm.
the for sale by owner website, or whatever it is. You're limited. You want to be able to be as open as possible so that you can get the best offer.
No,
You need a realtor. You know?
I mean, there's a lot of things, and it's happened before. there's a lot of times since you brought it up, right? The owner's trying to sell his property and doesn't necessarily tell the buyer all the ins and the outs of the home. It's not convenient, right? Many
Mm-hmm.
times, but I know there was one it was one buyer, lead experience, and she was like, I went into this house was being built, and um I don't remember what it was called. She was with a realtor that was like just pretty much silent, didn't know what she was doing, or it was something that she came into on her own. I'm not gonna specify because I don't remember really, but I remember she went into the home, right?
Uh-huh.
She said it looked beautiful and it looked very good. It was like brand new, built up. She closed on the deal. It was great
Yeah.
until
Mm-hmm.
she moved in, right? And the
Yeah.
kitchen pieces started to fall apart. So like things started to just like crumble. And I was like, oh Lord. I mean, it was like basically
Not
everything
grumble.
patched up, everything was patched up. So I'm here thinking like, is really like, does this stuff really happen? And then you're here and it's just like, yeah, what you think is an investment for you, again, your family is involved, you're involved, your future is involved, right? That's the reason you jumped into it.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
end up paying more than what you've had to, and it becomes a burden more than an enjoyment or a pleasure to have. So that's where it's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Yeah. And that happens so many times every day across the world that somebody's trying to do something without having a realtor.
Mhm.
And let me put a little pause there, but not having a knowledgeable realtor.
Mhm.
um, because there are realtors all over the place. But if you don't have a good, knowledgeable realtor, it's like walking through a cave by yourself and no flashlight.
Mhm.
Bats, snakes, spiders, everything coming out all over the place, and you got an echo that will not stop. You need somebody who's gonna be there to say, "I got the flashlight.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I know the map. I know the layout." And
Yeah,
that's what the realtor does. Because I'm telling you,
it's true.
so many times you run into inspection and you think that house that you loved, that was so beautiful, it's just right until you realize, oh, we got a cracked foundation. There's some settlement going on in this house, and so the house has some cracks because of the settlement on the foundation. Oh, we got leaky pipes, all kinds of things happening. The electrical work is done wrong. I had a house that they put the outlet for the electrical outlet right by the kitchen sink. Who would put the
Are you
electrical
kidding me?
outlet by the kitchen sink?
No, no, that's
Kitchen sink. Kitchen sink. So we did have that negotiated,
I
and
can,
they fixed that. That was part of that story. But
no,
but I mean, you need a realtor for that to guide you through that whole process.
that's so funny, and it's not funny. It's not really funny, But it just this stuff happens, and
Oh,
it's our choices. I feel like the long side of it is like we make these decisions thinking that is in our best interest, that we know how to negotiate for ourselves, and then the reality is we know squat.
yeah,
You just
yeah.
know, again, HGTV, and all these different high scale realtors living the high life, and
Hmm.
forget about it. We know nada. Um, you're very knowledgeable. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you and have this conversation with you. And I think that the dedication that you have to your craft shows. How
Thank you.
important is this craft to you? How, typically, how many, whether it be hours or how much time do you put into this to really start? Like, because I know you are a lot about community, and you're a big heavy on that. So, which is something another that I appreciate. So how important is the craft to you? You know?
So, the truth of the matter is, I do quite a few things. I'm a preacher. I do nonprofit work as well. I even work at Cracker Barrel. One of my first jobs was working at Cracker Barrel, and I worked there since I was one of the managers. I still work there as a server part time because I enjoyed the people. that I came in contact with, building relationships. And it was such a good time for me to just, that we had with each other. I said, hey, I'm going to stay here as a part-time. But besides that, um, when we talk about the time that we put into the craft, it is something that you always do. You never stop putting effort into real estate. You never stop taking classes, never stop reviewing courses. You never stop going to lunch and learns. You never stop working. We don't have such a thing as a part-time job. You may be dual careered, but you are always, well, let me tell you that, a good realtor is always working. It's been many a times I'm up late at night working on something, or up very early working on something, because my brand's at risk.
Yeah.
And not only my brand, but my client's at risk. And so if I'm not knowledgeable about it, then I expose my client, and they've put all this trust in me that I'm going to represent them. So I've got to find my time to do it. And so, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm throughout the upstate looking at houses and showing houses, writing contracts. That's what I do, throughout the week as well. But I could be anywhere. I could be, down in Florence, South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, Columbia. Even if I don't personally take care of a client and I hand them off to somebody, I'm still a part of that process, because I'm going to let them know that the trust that they have in me, I can give to another realtor, and you can be, trustworthy with them as well. That's why it's important to invest personally so much time into your craft, so that you can be the best that you can be. Oftentimes we think it's about the money, and I laughingly say it's about the money at times. But when you realize the more you put in, the more you'll get out. There's a song that's out, it's a gospel song, it says, sow good seed. And you got to sow good seed if you want to reap a good harvest. It's never a bad time to sow. It's a bad time not to sow. And so you got to always sow into your craft, always sow into your career, always sow into what you're doing, the people around you, your circle. I know we didn't talk about this, but the reason I'm able to know what I know is because my circle of influence, my sphere of influence, my friends, those who work in this business with me, iron sharpens iron. So the concepts of a friend is sharpened. It's the people around me that cause me to know what I know, do what I do, to the expertise and level that I do it. Because we make each other better. And they may not be the realtor, but because they work in a different area, maybe it's lending, maybe it's credit repair, maybe they're an investor, maybe they're a general contractor, maybe it's the inspection guy. I go to house inspections, to represent my client, but I go to learn. Every single time I've learned something different. I learned so much in my last house inspection about double paned windows. I thought you just open the window up, it's a couple screws, that's the whole thing to the window. He started explaining the science of the window to me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be a whole hour on windows. But that's the level that I give into the craft, into what I do, so that my client is at the best advantage at all times.
And I think that's what sets you apart in the market. It's your eagerness to learn, to be better at what you do. And it's so funny. I was just talking to a young girl earlier today, and we were talking about the importance of your gift, right? And the gift that we are given. Sometimes it's hard to put ourselves in a very vulnerable situation where, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be able to express some things that sometimes it's hard for people to resonate with people, right? But you do an injustice or a disservice, per se, not sharing that. Right?
Yes.
I mean, a gift is so powerful. What you can do in people's lives. Let's say, it may be just a client, but for that client, the process that you took with him from beginning to end. I always joke a lot with a lot of my realtor friends. We talk about how they're therapists, right? Basically, because they come in you know, with this huge burden, you know,
Oh my God.
and then it goes through you go through the motions with them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
something that for you may be a transaction you deal with day in, day out. For them in that moment, it's a crucial time for them. You know, some people come with
Mm-hmm.
anxieties, with stresses, with depression, with
Yeah.
just burdens that they have. So having somebody
Mm-hmm.
to talk to, especially someone who knows what they're doing, it's like for them it's everything. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of my community, being a Latina and having being the Latino influences, like we're treated sometimes very differently, you
Mm-hmm.
know, than the rest. And sometimes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
have the language barrier, and we have the, you know, it's still lack of understanding, lack of
Mm-hmm.
being guided, lack of being this, because at the end of the day, it's just a service that needs to be just closed. And the
Yeah.
reality is we are in the people business. And
Yeah.
as such, I think back to brand awareness, it doesn't matter the stage that you're in, that's how you accommodate to. That's why I say you guys are one of the biggest therapists that are out there. You deal with a lot too. People don't see the behind the scenes. And that's why I love to have these conversations, is because the behind the scenes are crucial. Perspective is
Yeah.
just what you see and what you think you see, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
the nights that your client is calling you, like early in the morning, late in the evening, right?
Spazzing out.
Exactly. Panic attacks, right? Panic attacks. And again, it may be something so small, but for them,
Mm-hmm.
it's everything. You know,
Yes.
so it's
Yes.
so important to just. I mean, it's all in a. We do things in an emotional state. You know, buying a house is one of them.
We're talking about one of the biggest purchases of your life.
Your life. Mm-hmm.
Of your life. I mean, it's not going out buying another shirt, buying another hat. This is buying a house, and that's why for me there has to be so much invested into that, because I know on the flip side, for me, I need somebody who's not going to, even if you're new, at least don't be a novice. You
Yeah.
can be new, don't be a novice.
No.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for taking the time to just be on this call with me. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I appreciate our laughs. I appreciate us talking. And I'm so excited to share this, because we've had a lot of valuable information here today. And let us know how we can reach you. Share with the audience. Where can we in touch with you? If somebody is looking to buy or sell a home, how can they reach you?
You can always go to www.matthewlongjr, that's jr.com. You can social media, Matthew Long Jr., Matthew Long Jr., the Realtor, Greenville Realtor, all over, everywhere. I'm there, I'm present.
You
And I
guys
don't mind.
reach out to Matthew. He's so much fun. He's so much, he has so much joy. And I know you
We
definitely.
can do this all day.
So reach out to him if you have any type of real estate needs. So once again, thank you for the time that you have dedicated tonight to go through some of these with me. And I know that we're going to continue some sessions with different real estate agents in our community. There's so much knowledge that needs to be shared. There's so much chains that need to be broken. And I'm glad that I'm able to, to get in touch with you and to know you, and for us to have a part of these conversations. So greatly appreciated.
Yes.
All right, so we'll be talking much. And again, follow Matthew Long Jr.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, you have a wonderful night, all right?
Same to you.